after knight g5, I'm going to play queen f5. I thought, I mean, that definitely was more resistance because this was immediately over. And
Right.
it's easy to say that position, like, again, the extra piece is on a2. So you get a free-handed attack. Oh, that was a very impressive game by Vladimir. He's recovered, Robert. This is, like, his wins have been very impressive compared to his losses. I mean, losses, okay, you blunder. We've all been there. He's not going to do that again. But these wins against Wesley.
Yeah. And, he's going for Sicilians again. He's not afraid to bring it. It's funny because when you play b3 on the first move, you think that someone's just trying to, play whatever chess. Just get off the beaten path. Let's just do our own thing. But he's going back to a Sicilian. He's got to watch out for the time being because the e file with the king on e8, there is some pawn hanging on d5 as the e6 pawn is pinned. But, I agree with you. He's been very impressive in his victories. He started off extremely poorly, right, losing the first two games. But he's bounced back, and he's proven himself to be, like, really on point today. I've been impressed by his tactical vision.
I want to say that last game was fantastic.
Yeah.
Just a lot of creativity, a lot of dynamic chess from both sides, but he went for it. And I think against Wesley, you do need to do that because in some of those, like, standard positions, Wesley displays such strong understanding and calculation. So that's good for him. That a b3 approach, non-theoretical, he got that position where he could create some play.
Yep. And this position, spending some time in the opening is Artemiev. He plays bishop on e7, and I see some people they've been asking, where is Danny? Danny does a lot. Yeah. He deserves a day off every now and then. And, well, I'm not upset about it. We got Eric Hansen of Chess Bra fame with me, and we're having a good time. So don't miss Danny. Time. Celebrate Eric's presence.
Thanks,
don't miss
Robert.
Danny. Okay, what is happening here? E5 feels like there are some sacrifices to be had on that E5 square. Right, that's what the first thing I'm thinking about is, like, can I take that? And they're not my pieces.
You're lacking a dark squared bishop. Okay, so take it. Queen takes, pawn takes, d5, and I'm going to drop my queen back to c7.
Yeah, it doesn't work. I know, and I knew it didn't work, but I just want to see tactics fly. But yeah, let's go back to the game because it's just you're giving up a piece for not enough material. So let's just retreat.
It would be better if you sacked another piece because you're opening up the e file, but you need a dark square piece to. This bishop on e7, like, the current pieces are not enough.
He's thinking about it,
though. He's thinking about it. Maybe he's going to do it just because Vlad got him last game with a sack. I mean, just.
Well, he decided to play the positional approach. And what do I mean by that? Now that the pawn is on d4, and he had to push the pawn d4 because e takes d5 would have been pretty nasty. The c4 square is white's for the taking. So white often plays b3, rook c1, pawn c3 to open up the c file, use the c4 square. And this bishop on d3 is, though it looks like a big pawn for the time being, it becomes quite useful once you end up rerouting it on the diagonal. And there's also ideas with, like, moving your queen and playing f4 sometimes to try to break open that bishop. But he plays for c3 first. I mean, this makes perfect sense.
So c3, and if I go c5?
So c5, of course, is the move that the good reaction to play. Then white will play rook a to c1 and still play pawn to b3 to protect this knight. Just go for
I'm trying to learn from this. Rook d8. c5 is better structurally in that I want to recapture on d4 with my c pawn and maintain a protected pass pawn. But here he's going for some open play. And he doesn't want to touch the c6 pawn because he doesn't want to weaken d5 long term.
Right. He doesn't want to weaken the light squares. And part of that is that this bishop can capture at any moment on f6. So if you play c5 and this bishop gets to the d5 square, you're not going to be too happy about that. So h6, bishop b2. So it's like, okay, now there's no more capture on f6. So I might play c5, but there's also another issue, right? The dark squares on the queen side are very weak. So if you play c5, and we can show in the analysis board really quickly, I can take on d4, and you want to take back with the c pawn to keep your structure, but then rook a c1 happens. I hit your queen.
Bishop a5 is coming, and you're right, those dark squares are real tender.
Yeah, juicy, right? White is happy to jump in there and say, like, where's your queen going to b8? I'll go bishop a5. Now your pieces are all out of whack, and knight comes to b6, or bishop comes to c7. And it's just a really unpleasant position. Probably just losing.
I wonder if black ever plays a5 here to entertain the idea of capturing on c3 and maybe playing bishop b4 to trade some things off. But I feel like you need a couple moves first. Maybe bishop e6. Is there a reason why bishop e6 hasn't been played?
No, maybe he wants to throw in bishop g4. I mean, one of those things you think about is bishop g4, but I don't like bishop g4 because if you play bishop g4, queen g3, and now this bishop takes h6 ideas with that pins. But bishop e6, as you suggested, I think white will just play take on d4. And you don't want to take with the e-pawn because that also allows white to play with like e5 and switch to the king side where I have bishop staring at your king side.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to sack an exchange here?
Let's go to the live position.
It looks just visual, but I don't know how much there is, because the problem is while white's knight doesn't have squares right now, it is going to go back to b2 and c4, and it's not like you can sack an exchange and say, hey, all my pieces are better. White's pieces will have squares, especially because of the c4 hole. Oh,
yeah,
no, he's not.
If you imagine the knight on c4, like if that knight was there now, it attacks e5 and threatens bishop a5 at the same time. So here it comes.
Well, the problem is he didn't do it, but this position is simply good for white, right?
Yep.
Like the c4 square is huge, e5 is a target, rook on d7 looks funny, smells funny. Bishop on b7 is not even a great diagonal in the future if white can get in f3. It's just, there's no way to break through there. And now these pawn islands are sticking out like sore thumbs. And
the d file is totally controlled by white, right? d4, d3, d2.
I think he's going to put the rook back to d4 at some point because I don't actually see long-term what black's doing. But yeah, Wesley, no surprise he's got a big time edge here. This is very uncomfortable for black.
Yep.
Just how do you create counterplay?
I wish I had the answer to that question. Yeah. I think Vladislav also wishes he had the answer to that question because it just looks
Knight
really
C4.
bad.
Oof, just putting your pieces on good squares.
Yeah, knight c4 is automatic. There it is, Eric. Dude, you're on fire today.
You got to do it. He's just gonna flag if he doesn't. He's gonna be passive. This is, I don't know.
Look at this move, queen g3. See, I'm hitting your e5 pawn, and now I want to take you. I want to take you on
move. Wesley move number 10.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Doesn't take material and tries to play like a machine.
He's like, that rook's not going anywhere, so let me play queen to g3 and just take it next move.
It's true, and it's unfortunate for Vlad.
So is he going to take it now, or is he going to play rook a to c1?
Because the rook is trapped. Rook a to c1.
He's just going to leave it there.
And the bishop might go to a5. Maybe he's going to take a different rook. Maybe if rook d8, bishop a5. Now there's other ideas.
Yeah, that rook can't get to d8. But if you go rook c1, bishop g5, maybe try to get the bishop to f4. It's not like black.
Bishop g5 is a good square. You can be annoying there because you get the bishop to f4, knight to f6. I can see a little bit of counterplay.
Knight a5. Look at him go.
Do you play bishop h4 now just to be annoying? Or is that not really?
Bishop h4. Say like take me on h4.
Throw pieces. You got to throw pieces. Bishop h4. Let's go, Vlad.
He's like bishop h4. He'll ignore it. He'll go queen h3 or something. Queen h3.
Okay. Similar. But there's definitely not full compensation. But Wesley thinks so highly of his position here that he's going to wait and try to extract the maximum.
Only 29 seconds for Vlad. But the good news is that with this position clarifying, of course, white will be up material once you eventually take on d4, which he still hasn't done, which is impressive to me. But well, now he's not taking the rook anymore.
Because the rook can go to, this is interesting, the rook can go to f6.
Yep.
It's still ugly structurally, but
the bishop might get trapped. Queen g3 kind of stuff, or queen g. So bishop f4 though, you got a tempo again.
Bishop f4,
then queen g4. You can't go rook g6.
Oh right, and you can't go knight f8 because you can take on b7 and play bishop d5. But this is because g3 doesn't even threaten the piece right away in some variations.
Oh, you're right.
In some variations.
Well,
you can take on c4.
Yep.
You can take on f4. Good move. Again, this is okay. Queen e2, maybe something solid, but I'm impressed that he's managed to hold on for this long.
He's going to play rook a to d1 and just play rook d7 or queen d7. He's just playing for the endgame now because even the endgame is good for him. There it is. And queen, queen h5, you can go queen e2.
I definitely get the impression Flies a little bit. Well, rook g6, bishop g4.
Oh,
what? Bishop
okay.
g4.
So queen e2 back, and then play f3 to like help your.
Yeah, but at least you get to play bishop g5 and pull your piece out. Then put the bishop back on f6, and at least the bishop on c8 cuts off entry squares. It's definitely good for white, but I'm impressed that somehow this rook on d4, its long journey's made it to g6, is a safe haven.
Honestly, I would have lost like what move we're at 31, like 20 moves ago.
Is he going to put the bishop on f3 or something?
He should try. He also
problem is with 10 seconds.
Bishop g5.
Oh
my god.
Bishop d2. Bishop d2. You gotta get rid of. No one wants to get their queen trapped. Bishop d2. Is there enough? Is there something?
Or maybe bishop a5 first, because then you go rook d8 as well. Like you have a kind of a bishop a5 allows you to threaten rook d8 in some lines if your queen doesn't protect the back rank. Okay, plays bishop. So bishop e6. This is so wild. And now Wesley only has 20 seconds.
But he has rook takes h5 in the end.
So take the rook. Oh, the pawn's on e5's pin.
It's a pin. And yeah, rook.
Yeah, that's bad. No, queen takes h5 here. Start goblin. Knight d6.
Yeah.
Game over. Oh, no, knight d6, rook takes g3. Don't blunder. Wait. That means the bishop's hanging. Oh, look at that move. Whew. This game has been absolutely wild.
But there's f4. F4 is coming.
Yep. And 9 seconds left for Wesley. I mean, this is
f4. Let's go. Oh.
Take on e5. Take on e3. And you're down 2 pawns.
You're down 2 pawns.
Oh, man. This has been fun, though. Yeah, now it's just should be queen d8. Okay, or not. So he's just playing calmly. 1 second left for Vlad.
Yeah, not enough time. And the position doesn't help.
Vlad is a really good blitz player, but unfortunately...
Well, the amount of moves he found in such an awkward position. Awkward, I think, is like just like the word. Like it's harder to find moves there than usual. This is... What a game.
And they're taking a lot of time in this game here, which is probably good news for Artemiev. I think he will fare better in the shorter time controls, although Wesley has been the second highest performing player in the 3-minute time control after Hikaru Nakamura. But this end game should be winning quite in a straightforward manner. You start pushing your pawns. But watch out. If some lines you
who messed this end game up? Not quite the same end game, but
it was Hikaru and Duda. Wait.
Ding also.
Oh, now it's over.
Nice conversion.
Yeah, that was clever. Rook takes g5. Rook e7 check was get the king some space. That's super fun though. Let's. I want to just bring up the announcement.
Show the
really
stalemate
quickly.